What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Great to be with you guys. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the journey episode number 2. All right. Are we coming across loud and clear? Are we good? Can you guys see me okay? Everybody good? How are you doing today? How are you feeling today? How are you? My name is Vick here with you. Very, very excited to be here with you for the second episode of the journey. We will talk about some interesting stuff tonight on this particular episode, and I'm very excited to bring to you one special guy, right? Somebody who you'll be hearing from today. Fantastic, awesome. Of course, we're doing this live, right? And if you're in the room here, it's awesome to connect with you. If you guys have questions, communication, is important for me here so that I can, address your questions. I can, pull out some ideas from this guy I'm going to be interviewing, okay, today, as he is going to be sharing his journey with everybody. Of course, I like that community, interaction, if you're watching this recorded, if you happen to be watching the journey as a recorded episode, you are going to be hearing some ideas today, okay? Some principles, some very, very interesting lessons that have the power to completely transform your business, that have the power to transform your life, to really take you from wherever you are, okay, wherever you might be, in your life, in your business right now, to hopefully take you to a whole other level, okay? Awesome. Who do you guys think that is? Okay, let me actually take a look at the comments here. Okay, so I can see your comments. I can see what you guys are all talking about here. Okay, we're gonna be hanging out here. It's gonna be pretty cool. Sweet. Okay, cool. Any idea? Okay, any idea who this might be? Okay, let me give you a couple hints. Okay, this person that I'm going to be bringing on to you tonight, okay, he started out very, very, very low in life, okay? He started out broke. He started out with, being very, very ambitious, very, very driven, but he didn't know how to do it. He had many ups and downs. He has a crazy, crazy story, a story you could probably make a movie out of. And it's probably going to be a pretty interesting one. You know what I'm saying? This guy right now, he, is successful by a lot of people's standards. Okay, but success is subjective, right? Successful, like, what is success? Success to you might be, having enough that you can provide the lifestyle for your family that they deserve. Maybe success to you is driving a Ferrari. I'm not sure. Maybe success to you is just being able to take your kids from school, and go to school functions and take them back from school, take them to school, that kind of stuff, right? Maybe success to you is, rising above the norm, right? So this guy that you'll be hearing from, currently he was able to build, literally take a situation to where, from the ghetto, right, to overcoming tremendous obstacles in his life and business, and going on to, train and coach a lot of people, had basically became number one income earner in many different companies, many different programs, promoting many different things. He is somebody who is very, very passionate about helping people, about very, very passionate about inspiring people to get to above average level, to live and reach their true potential. And the guy that you will be hearing from, you guys, is the guy who is looking at you right now. Okay, so I wanted to take this episode tonight and share with you guys some things. Okay, share with you some things that that perhaps many of you don't know about me. Okay, and take you back on my journey. All right, take you back on how I started out. okay, how I started out in this industry, how I started out, go take you way, 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 way back, right, way back, and you know, reveal to you my journey. Would you guys like to would you guys like to hear that story, right? Some things I have never shared. Chris is saying had a feeling, right? But here's the agenda. Okay, obviously right now, you know, we you know we're moving forward with this movement and this vision of the 4% group, right? And as you're watching this, maybe you're watching this as a replay or a recorded version. You know, a lot of you guys watching this live, and so one thing that I wanted you to take away from this episode, okay, there's going to be many things that are going to be taken away. But I'm a big believer that one idea can make you what? One idea can make you a millionaire, right? One idea can take you from where you are to where you really want to be and maybe beyond that. You don't need a lot, okay? So as you're watching, as you're listening to this, fish for those ideas. Fish for that something that you can, you know, potentially take, you know, and hopefully apply in your business and, you know, maybe take your business to another level, okay? Here's my backstory. Let me just take you guys back. I had a pretty crazy, you know, the short life I was able to live, you know, thus far, right? It was pretty crazy, you know, pretty rough. I started out. I remember. I'll take you back to, you know, to how things actually began, you know, in my head, right? Where I kind of got the bug for this entrepreneurship and, you know, and kind of how things progressed, the ups and downs, the lessons I've learned. You know, I'll give you my breakthroughs. I'll give you some of the resources that allowed me to, you know, shift my mindset. A lot of people want to succeed in this industry, but they don't. Here's the thing: we get conditioned, right? A lot of times, see, I grew up in a very loving family. English is my second language. You know, originally from the Ukraine. Our parents, they were pretty, you know, they had a very average, very typical life, right? That they lived. But one thing we did not have lack of, and that's love in the family. You know, so we had abundance of love, abundance of just that family atmosphere, right, which was awesome. But I grew up very middle class, and we got here, you know, over to the United States. I was, I think, 12 or 13 years old, like 20 years ago, you know, and you know, went to high school here, right, and I was. Had to learn, didn't know a word of English. And I remember when I was 14 years old, you know, in a state that I live here in the Midwest, you know, we could start, you know, we could go to work, right? I mean, literally kids, 14 years old, we could start working. Later on, they changed those laws to where you had to be like 16 or something, right? But here's the thing. All of us, right, we grow up in a particular environment, okay? And a lot of times we're the product of our environment, right? Our environment shapes us, okay? And the crazy thing is a lot of people get stuck in that conditioning, right? We get conditioned, right? When we're conditioned to do something over and over and over again, or hearing things over and over and over again, that gets it literally like engraved in our brains, right? And this is just how we are, right? You take a baby, right, a newborn that is American, right? The baby was born here in the United States. You put it, you know, you take the baby over to, you know, Russia or China or, you know, wherever the other country, or, you know, somewhere in Africa there, let that baby grow up, and, you know, that baby is going to grow, that person is going to become fluent in whatever language or whatever, you know, environment or whatever country that they grew up in. Why? It's conditioning, right? So if we have a certain level of conditioning around us, you know, that can shape us either, you know, one way or another way, right? And a lot of us, okay, myself included, we were conditioned to, you know, you gotta work, you gotta go to school, you gotta graduate, you gotta go to college, you gotta graduate, right? You gotta get your degree, and you gotta get a good job, work for the man, come back, get your 40 hours in, you know, get your paycheck on Friday, kick back, watch some TV maybe, right? After work, and that's kind of how you live your life, okay? Anybody can relate to that? Okay, this is the kind of conditioning that I grew up in. Okay, but I remember when I was going back to 14, 15 years old, I started to work. I started my very first job, you know, cleaning floors and cleaning toilets. You know, that's what I did, and I got this thing in me. I'm like, dude, this, I want to have a little bit of my own independence, right? And when I remember when I was about 18 years old, 17, 18 years old, right? The very first like real like legitimate job. Just gonna take you back, compress some time frames a little bit here for you guys. Um, Everything that happens to us, okay, here's a big thing that everybody should remember. Everything that happens, okay, the ups and downs that we go through, that can become our biggest asset, okay, if we look at those situations in a certain way. So when I was like, I think 17 or 18 years old, I was working for a bank, right, and I was doing collections. Okay, I was calling people up to get them to pay their credit card, right? People who were like late on their payments. I would call them up, and that was a pretty brutal job. I don't know if anybody of you guys worked collections here before, right, at the bank. So that kind of that gets you to the point to where you have to really develop a certain level of attitude when you work with people, right? And I was just a kid. I did not know anything. But one thing that I took away from that experience, I started out not knowing anything. I was super afraid of the phone, but I did it anyways, right? But when I was there, somebody said, Vic, if you want to be really good at this, you've got to identify 2 or 3 people who are the best, literally the best in that particular department, and you've got to listen to them. You've got to pay attention to how they're talking. You got to pay attention to how their posture is on the phone, right? How they're dealing with people, what they're talking about, what's their tone of the voice, because people don't see you, like unlike this video right here, right? So that was a big breakthrough for me back then, right? So I would literally listen to people who were the best. Right? There's a lot of mediocre people, just like in any niche, just like in any industry, just like in any company. There's a bunch of mediocre people, a bunch of averages, and there is a few skyscrapers, right? There is a few people who are like the top of the top. They're crushing it, and those are the people I was listening to, a kid, right? And because I was getting indirect coaching from those people, trying to adopt their attitude, right, the way they talked on the phone, I was able to become one of the top 5, always like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the department, right? In doing what I was doing. So that was cool. The one thing I didn't like is coming in and punching in the clock and going out. And I'm like, I remember one time I was talking to we had a conversation with my mom, and I said to her one thing that I will probably remember for the rest of my life. I don't know what the conversation was about, but I said something like, when I graduate, right, I'm gonna have something of my own. I did not know what it was. That led me into discovering, like dabbling into different things while still in high school, junior and senior in high school. I saw these different chain letters, and I saw these different real estate courses and these different mortgage refunds and things like that, right? So I would order those things, and I was always like trying to make something on the internet. Remember that, trying to do something from home. I was always in that. In those types of deals. Moving forward, when I was like 20 years old, we got married, right? So I met this girl. We were great friends for about 5 years while still kids, right? And at 20 years old, I decided, you know what? You love somebody, why not get married, right? So I got married when I was 20 years old, a kid, and this is where the reality kind of sunk in for me, right? I'm like, wow. I'm not only responsible for myself, I now have a family. One day we might have some kiddos, and I've got to figure something out. Okay, so working for somebody else, bringing home $300 a week in paycheck, and we lived in a very, very ghetto neighborhood, 1-bedroom apartment, in a neighborhood that's not the best by any stretch of imagination, and I started to look at different things, right? And I was looking into the internet marketing space, and I was seeing that guy is fleshing out the lifestyle, and somebody else is talking about how great this lifestyle is, and so that got really, really motivating for me. I did not know anything about online space. I did not know how affiliate marketing worked. This is 2000 and this is 2005. Okay, before that, I dabbled into sold some insurance, and there was another great lesson that I learned, right? When I went to and sold some life insurance. I was like about 19 years old at this time. I was learning from somebody who was earning $2 million a month. I just happened to be a part of their agency, and the way that industry works is there was like an agency manager, and they got a bunch of different agents that they're kind of managing, and of course, it's kind of like network marketing. So they get a cut for everything that their agents are doing. So this guy Ralph, right? I remember this as I will remember it forever. He says, "You guys, when it comes to sales, okay, and remember, this is like a commission-only job. There is no salary, there is no paycheck that's steady. It's commission only. You eat what you kill, right? That's what they call it. And nobody sold anything, nobody got paid, right? So he was giving us some ideas that I will remember for the rest of my life. He said, we used to buy leads, right? One of the things that we're doing right now with the 4% group is we, of course, we're going to be servicing those people because I have some, coming back from that industry, I know what it was like. We would purchase the leads and we would call those leads, right? And so the lead would be like, hey, I'm interested in learning more about, maybe getting some insurance for myself. And so when these leads would come in, most agents, okay, most people in that agency or most people in the company, it was a brokerage company, they would contact the person, right, the lead, and they would be like, hey, do you want this? Can I come out? Can I see you at that time? And we would literally schedule home appointments, and we would go to the house, right, and we would do the presentation, and then we would sell the policy to the homeowners, right? So this Ralph guy who was teaching us, he told me one thing that stuck with me, and I kind of implemented my marketing over and over again, and that's assumptive close. Okay, so if you guys are taking notes, this was my first real breakthrough as an entrepreneur, if you will. Okay, as a salesperson. So he said a couple things. He said, look, never be intimidated by anybody. Okay, so if somebody sent in the lead, if somebody raised their hand and says, hey, I want to know more information, assume the sale. Assume the sale. And I was a kid. I was like, dude, wow, this is like, I'm 19 years old, right? And this guy who is teaching me this, he's making $2 million a month. To me, that was like, my goodness, I could not even comprehend, that much in income coming in. That insurance agency, Ken? Yeah, they're still around. It's a big agency. Yeah. And so where everybody else, right? And he had the most success in his agency. He had the most successful, they had the biggest sales out of all the agencies in that company because of how he was teaching. He was #1 income earner in that company. And so he says, guys, couple things. You're not in the business of insurance. You're in business of dealing with people, right? So he's like, when somebody sent in the lead, right? Assume the sale. So when somebody else, other people are calling them and they're like, hey, would you like this? Can I come out to see you? He's like, no, your attitude is you call somebody up and you say, hey, my name is so-so. I've got your information. Okay. I will be in your area at this day. I've got this time and this time open. Which one works best for you? For me to stop by and show you what you requested. That approach versus, hey, my name is so-and-so. Can I come out to see you? See what I'm saying? Totally different mindset, totally different approach to marketing, or selling, right? Or talking to people. And so that took a minute for me to sink in, but when I got it, okay, and learning from somebody who was #1 income earner in that particular industry, or that particular company, okay, $2 million a month, right? I've got this lesson that I just grabbed it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do exactly what that guy is teaching me, and I'm not going to deviate from it one iota, okay? I'm just going to do exactly what he's doing, okay? And I'm just going to do it, right? And so that's the approach that I took. And then he said this. He said, the person you're talking to, the person you're dealing with, they're no different than you, okay? So they're a person just like you. And so by learning from that guy, I got pretty good at that as well. So sold that in, but we had to travel a lot. So I had to drive for 4 hours one way and then 4 hours back. In my downtime, he also said this. He said, "You guys, when you're on the road, okay, never be idle. Okay, when you're driving, never let your mind go idle, because if your mind is idle, right, all kinds of like weeds and things that, metaphorically speaking, obviously, is going to start growing in there. It's just like a garden, right? Your mind is like a garden. He says, look, if you don't nurture your garden, if you don't protect it, right, if you don't cultivate your garden, if you don't water it in time, weeds are going to grow naturally. You don't need to plant weeds, right? So that was another breakthrough for me that stuck with me for a very, very long time, and will always remember it for as long as I live, probably. And that is, never allow yourself to go idle, right? That was a big thing for me. So when I was driving, okay, he introduced me to personal development, right? I've got the next big breakthrough for me. So the first breakthrough, right, before I even got to the insurance, or before I even got to the online marketing in 2005, what I've learned and what I've kind of gleaned from selling insurance is, number one is assume the sale, right? Assumptive close, assumptive sale. And the second thing is, when you are in downtime, I got introduced to personal development. He says your income will grow to the extent that you do. Okay, and so I came across this this guy called by the name of Bob Proctor. Okay, and I would listen to his programs. I think one of the programs was You Were Born Rich. Right, some of you guys might have heard about that program. Really, really cool program. Highly suggest you check it out if you want to. You probably can find it on YouTube or something. But I was listening to that stuff constantly, and what it did is it shifted my paradigm. Right, it shifted my paradigm for what I was doing back there. Right, and I started to grow, right, as a salesman in that company. Didn't like traveling. I remember one time I did something I should never have done, and had to pay for it later, which is a little bit of a different story, which I'll tell you here in a minute what happened there. But got married when I was 20 years old, got online, and I'm like green, totally different industry, totally different thing, but I'm so excited and I'm so fired up. And I get started with this company that it was a direct sales company, and had to borrow a lot of money, didn't have the money, right? We got married, pretty much all the money that we had went to, pay for the wedding, and, we went on a little honeymoon and came back pretty much broke, okay? No money whatsoever. And I'm like, wow, I really want to make this online marketing work. Being exposed to personal development a little bit prior to this, right? Coming from the insurance industry, and already kind of having predisposed to some people who were absolutely crushing it. My mind was focused on people who were making it, because I thought, look, if I learn from that guy, right, from that Ralph guy in insurance agency, that allowed me to become pretty good doing that stuff, I'm gonna pretty much take that same thinking, right, and apply it here in this industry. So to me, it wasn't a matter of if I can do it or not. All right, we got to the point. So I had to borrow the money. Borrowed the money. I think I remember I went to work for about 2 weeks or so. I went back to work for a bank for about 2 weeks, because we literally did not have any money. So we needed to survive for a little bit. But when I found a company that I got very excited about at that time, this is 2005, and borrowed a bunch of money to get started. Plan B did not exist for me, right? And I'm like, man, if that guy did it, I can do it. I can figure this out. So a lot of this stuff, I'm going to share with you guys some things that allowed me to go from to be able to bounce back from different things that was happening, moving forward, as I'm about to share with you. One thing is the importance of understanding a couple things. Okay, the importance of understanding that if somebody else did what you want to do, okay, you can do it. Second thing is, you're no better, you're no less, you're no more, right, than somebody else. Okay, all people are essentially the same. So that would take away from that would remove or kind of reduce the intimidation, if you will. If you're, like, for example, when talking to a video camera like this, right? Understanding that when you're talking to somebody else, that somebody else is just like you. Okay, when you sit across the table with somebody, that somebody is just like you. Okay, so just understanding those things, and also being around people who are, you know, who are good at whatever you wanted to be good at, that also is important thing. So here I am in the industry. I joined the company, and of course, just like everybody, just like with everything, right? There was a lot of people who were just scraping by, a lot of people failing, and there was a few people who were crushing it, right? And I remember there was a network called the what was it called? The Success. I think it was called the Success Network channel or something like this, to where they had rags to riches stories. I don't think it's existing. It's out there anymore. I think they probably shut down or something. But I remember listening to these rags to riches stories and constantly, every single day, just filling my mind with, hey, here's this guy. I would listen to his story, how he went from basically his journey, how he went from, being in a very very rough space to making it. What was his breakthroughs, and I would fill my mind with that information constantly. That allowed me a vision for the future that I had. I really wanted to make it, powered by just constant reinforcement that somebody else did it, you can do it. Somebody else did it, you can do it. When we had to borrow $30,000. Somebody, a friend of mine, he went out. I got so fired up, and this is somebody who I've known for a very, very long time. And he was a business, he's still a business owner, still my very good friend of mine. He's like, dude, I don't have the money that you're asking, but I can take out he had an equity line of credit or something like that. And so he did that. He took it out, and he lent me the money. We've invested $20,000 into this company that I started out in 2005, this direct sales company, 20 grand, and we left $10,000 to pay for the bills, right? To buy bread and feed the family. And I quit doing whatever I was doing. I quit the bank, I quit the job, I quit everything, and I literally went in, invested $20,000 into different marketing. I got so fired up. I'm like, dude, this is easy, right? I mean, you can just promote this program, and all you have to do is just drive traffic, just run some pay-per-click, Google pay-per-click in 2005, 2006. It was super easy to run pay-per-click on Google. So I did that. $20,000 wasted or invested in a very expensive lesson, and made 0 sales. Not a single sale. Not a single sale. I don't know if you can put yourself in a situation like that. This is probably in a span of about 3 months, I would say. 2 to 3 months. I would just throw money in. Hey, this next one is going to be right. This next one is going to be it. I would buy a whole bunch of media. I had to invest like $7,000 into just buying into the program, and then the rest of the money basically went into the advertising. Now think about this. I don't know if anybody of you guys can imagine this, but here I am, 20K in a hole, right? Actually 30K in a hole of money I did not even have, and not a single sale. What did I do? I remember this guy Jared McCart. He still works with us right now. He was my upline in that company. And I called him up. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Can you run campaigns for me? Can you do this thing for me? He's like, no, man, but you just got to learn, right? See, the lesson there for me was I was learning, and I was trying to grab onto every single thing, right? I would invest money into programs and into on different things, on different educational courses, different marketing campaigns, different ideas that I did not know the source of that information, right? And I could not figure out whether the source was real or somebody was a pretender. What I found out was in this industry, okay, there was more pretenders, probably 95% of pretenders, okay, and just a few people who were the real deal. And so I was listening to all these guys. One guy says, "Hey, you should run a campaign over here. Hey, you should take you should take this amount of money, just put it here, run your campaign here." And I was just like that dog chasing everything, right? But I was so fired up. I'm like, "Hey, this is gonna be it." Or maybe that didn't work, but I still have another, few $1,000s here saved up. So let me just try this thing. Let me just try this thing. And I don't know if you can relate, but eventually we got to the point to where I had to make a decision. I'm like, do I pursue this internet marketing, my dream, or do I go and try to find a job, work for somebody else, or continue doing what I was doing prior? Our 10,000 that we have set aside here to pay the bills and everything like that, that also kind of started to dwindle down. Okay, and besides that, I'm like, I started to dip into that money as well. It was a very difficult decision for us, but I decided to. I mean, to me, as far as I'm concerned, there was only one plan, which is Plan A, and I've got to the point to where I had to stop what I was doing, and I'm like, okay, this clearly doesn't work. Who is the real deal, right? So I came across some mentors, some real legends on the internet. Dan Kennedy was one of them, and I identified some people, right? And I got myself a mentor. We'll tell you who that was, a little bit later as well. But he says, Vic, what you're doing is just like what everybody else is doing right now. See, you're in a company, they have 20,000, 30,000 affiliates. And if you're doing what everybody else is doing out there, and that company just had one funnel, one landing page, everybody promoted the same exact thing, right? And it got saturated, and nobody got results, except a few people who knew what they were doing by creating, presenting their funnels in a little bit of a different way. And he says, look, again, he told me that same idea that I learned from this Ralph Simpson guy, right, in the insurance business. He says, look, you're not in the business of selling a product. You're in the business of people. And that got me to think, like, wow, this is actually real, right? Same thing happens here again. This is somebody who is at the top, right, of their game, telling me this, pretty much the same thing that this other guy in a different industry was telling me. You're in the business of people. So he said, you got to stand out from the crowd, right? And so what Belinda is saying totally can relate. Okay, so what I want to have lunch with Ralph. Okay, so look, my wife and I, we had a very good talk, that evening, and I remember I said, baby, I don't know how we're gonna make it, but I know we're just gonna make it. We're just gonna make it. I just knew it. When eventually we got to the point, you guys, to where we did not have $1.19 to my name. We started to dip into the bread money. Right? We started to dip into the bills money, that we decided not to touch, except only to pay, for household expenses and things like that. I purchased a couple courses, from my mentor, and I said, I'm gonna go through that. I paid them on an hourly basis for a little bit, right? And what he taught me was just ideas. He did not show me how to drive traffic. He did not show me how to really do this. But what he gave me is he gave me a couple ideas that I took and I ran with. Okay, and these are ideas that allowed me to completely transform everything. So the first idea he said, Vic, do not do what everybody else is doing. If you follow the majority, you will get what the majority is getting. Look what the majority is getting. Pretty much nothing. Okay? You got to do things differently. I said, how? He says, you got to stand head and shoulders above everybody else, and by being unique and cultivating your tribe. Okay? Cultivating your tribe. I said, how do I do this? He said, look, you've got to lead by example, right? And you got to teach from experience, not theory. But you don't talk about stuff you don't have. You talk about stuff that you have, and you talk about stuff, or you talk about you talk about the direction you're going. You talk about where you're going, and you can leverage somebody else's success if you like. So basically, what I did is this was a big breakthrough now for me in the marketing space. Was I created a landing page, a custom landing page, as simple as that. The offer didn't change. What I was promoting with that company. The company didn't change, the product didn't change, compensation plan didn't change, right? I didn't change necessarily. The only thing that I did every single day, I remember this as clear as it was yesterday right now, is I remember staying up until 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, just immersing myself with Rex to riches, ideas, right? Just learning from, going through the course that I bought. I remember going through that course like 6 or 7 times, but just immersing myself and not allowing any negativity to creep in. In the company I was a part of, there was a lot of people calling it a scam and you should join this. And there was back in 2005, 2006, there was, I don't know if some of you guys can go back all the way to there, but there were a lot of companies competing with one another, right? And there was this bashing game going on. This new company launches out and this new company's reps bashing all these other companies, right, to try to get the traffic. And it was like a war on pay-per-click. You would go to a pay-per-click, or you would go to like Google, and you would type in a particular company, right, a direct sales company, and you would see the ads on the right hand side, pay-per-click ads by all these different competing companies from these different affiliates, basically, taking away the traffic, right? Gray, shady, unethical type, marketing campaigns. But nonetheless, when you have two paths, right? When you have somebody who is making it in anything, whether it's online, whether it's offline, whether it's whatever industry selling whatever product, okay? We can pay attention and focus on one or two directions. We can listen to the majority, or we can look at the producers, right? And I was looking at the producers. So I had a vision for the future that was so compelling, so crystal clear. I'm like, dude, I want to have 5,000 a month coming in. My ultimate goal was like 20,000 a month. I want that. I would like literally think through how, I would live, how my life would look like when I had that money on a monthly basis, right? And that kept me going. And then here in the back, I have my vision being reinforced, but hey, you can do kinds of messages, right? From video to, to different audios, to books that I read. I read another book, you might want to write this down. It was called the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, right? By T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. That book also gave me another breakthrough. That basically, it's just difference between people who are broke and people who are successful, people who are rich and people who are broke, how they think, okay? Just differences. And I kept going back and referring to that book over and over again. Probably read that book more than 10 times. It's a very, very easy to read. Check it out if you haven't. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. That did a big shift for me as well. And then in addition, I was continuing to immerse myself in the personal development. Remembering the words of my mentor, he says, your income will follow your personal growth. He said, this rough guy, he told everybody, he says, guys, look, in 3 to 5 years, you will be like the books you read and people you hang out with. I said, I like that, but I don't like the 3 to 5 years part, and then he said, you can compress it. He said, be coachable to the point to where if your mentor tells you to stand on one foot and make phone calls, you would do it. And I got it, and I grabbed onto those words, and I internalized them, and I said, you know what? I'm going to be coachable to the point to where if my mentor tells me that I got to open up a phone book and go to page 538 and call those numbers while standing on one foot, right? Regardless of how crazy this may sound, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to question, as long as that mentor that I'm learning, that source that I'm getting information from, is getting the results that I want. You guys getting this? Yeah. So that's what I was doing. Okay. And so I would continue to reinforce my mind, and then something happened where I would create this landing page for myself, right? When I was broke, okay, you couldn't convince me that I wasn't already a millionaire. I mean, in my mind, I was like, I'm going to get 5,000 here. I'm going to get eventually, I want to get to $20,000. But then one day, something inside of me told me that, you know what, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to be a great success. And I kept reinforcing that belief. So I don't know what your situation is right now, you guys. Just a little side note. I don't know, like, how many times you failed before. I don't know if this is like the last resort for some of you. I don't know, what you might be going through right now. I just want to encourage you. I want to encourage you and tell you that don't give up. don't give up. If your vision for the future is big enough, right, you'll find a way. You'll find a way, promise you, okay? The important thing is mentorship. The second most important thing is developing and reading constantly and acquiring information that's going to support your vision, okay? So I create this landing page, and I basically said how I'm going to, or I don't remember exactly what I said there, but it was something to the tune of, here is how I can help you, or here is how you can potentially earn up to 10,000. It was super hypey. It was super hypey. Like, here's how I can help you earn 10,000 a month, or how I think I said how we can help you earn 10,000 a month, or something like that. Crazy hypey. I would not recommend that kind of copy. But back then I was like, dude, we can do it. Through my team, we can do it, right? I cannot show them how to do it, but I can leverage my team, and I can get them plugged into the team. Anyway, so people started to opt in. And I remember running a couple. I didn't have the money for ads. I did not have any money at this time. I mean, we don't have any money to buy food. So I go to Craigslist and I post an ad on Craigslist. Back then we could do that. Right now, not so much. And I ran an ad on Craigslist. I have no list. I've got no contacts. I've got no social media presence. I've got nothing. But I got hunger, So I go to and place an ad, and I get like 20 subscribers to my list. Okay, 20 people opted in. These people responded to how to make money online type, message, right? I don't have any sales yet, but I got so fired up, right? I got so fired up. My mentor said, Vic, you need to connect with people, because people buy from people, not companies, right? This is why you can have two different people doing the exact same thing, promoting the exact same product, right? Running the exact same ad. One guy can be crushing it, another guy can be struggling. You couldn't tell the difference in what they do. How do you explain that? So he says, people buy from people, right? So another breakthrough for me was building your tribe, okay? Cultivate and build your tribe. It's not about how much traffic you can send. It's about how responsive your people are to your messages. Does that make sense, you guys? So what I would do is, again, I got no sales coming in. I don't focus on my current situation. I was very deliberate not to let doubt and frustration to settle in my mind. There were times, man, don't get me wrong. I mean, there was times where, the situation was crazy. I mean, literally we got to the point I did not have a buck in a bank account. We did not have it on a credit card. We did not have it in cash. We did not know how we're gonna buy bread tomorrow. And I remember this as clear as day. It was somebody's birthday. I don't remember whose, but our parents gifted us $50, $50. Okay, they did not know what was going on. They did not know that we were struggling. We did not tell anybody. We did not go out there and telling the world, or telling any, even the family that we were struggling. Okay. But that $50 got us through for like a week. It was like, wow, this is the kind of stuff that I went through. So 20 people get to my list, and I emailed these people. And I said, hey, I think when they opted in, they went to the company presentation. Nobody joined, the typical funnel, right? So they opt in, they go and see the presentation. Nobody joins, but they're on my list. I've got them in my autoresponder, Aweber at that time. So I emailed them and I said, hey guys, my name is Vic. I appreciate you being my subscriber. Thank you. Here is what I'd like to tell you. I just got 20 leads in a single day. I'd like to show you exactly how I did it for free. There is no catch. I'm not going to sell you anything. As a matter of fact, leave your wallet in a different room. I'm going to basically share with you how I did it as my way of saying thank you for being my subscriber. That's exactly pretty much what I told him. And I said, if you are interested, okay, call in at this teleconference number. I went to freeconferencecall.com and got myself a free account. Didn't have to pay for it. Didn't have the money, right? And I got myself a free teleconference account. And and I would create a a little conference bridge call, right? And I would give them the number. I said, call in this number on Friday at this time, and I'm going to share with you how I did it, how I got 20 leads. Notice I didn't talk about lack of sales. I didn't talk about how broke I am. I didn't talk about anything. I was trying to extract the little successes that I started to see. Okay? To me, it was like a breakthrough, dude. I've got 20 people that are now in my space. They're in my house. They're in my in my sphere of influence. I can influence these people. And now going back to what Ralph, what this Ralph guy from the insurance, right, taught me. He's like, hey, you guys are not in the insurance business, you're in people's business. Assume the sale, assume the close, right? If they responded, there is a need. They wouldn't respond to you if there wasn't a need, right? So it's up to us now to connect with them and present our stuff better than anybody else will, and they'll get it. Connect with them on a personal level, not on the product level, but on a personal people-to-people business, eye to eye. You see what I'm saying? So remember then, I said, call in, I'm going to share with you, okay? And on Friday, right, this scheduled time, I dial in all excited. I'm expecting like 20 people to show up because, hey, dude, I'm going to show them how to, how I got 20 subscribers, my very first 20 subscribers. They didn't know that, but I know that, right? And so I dialed in as a moderator, and there was a free teleconference. I think you could punch like *6 to check how many people are on the call. People don't know how many people are on the call, but I can find out. So I do the *6. I'm like expecting 20 people to be there, or maybe like 19, 18 people, right? And the computer goes, there are 2 participants on the line, or like 3 participants on the line, and I know that I'm one of them. Okay? I'm like, dude, man. But as soon as that thought creeped into my mind, I had to just get rid of it. I had to remove it because I've got 2 people that are listening to me that they came onto the call. 2 people. They don't know that there's 2 people. As far as they're concerned, there's maybe hundreds, right? But I know. So here's another test, right? How you're gonna act, how you're gonna behave, what your posture is like. Is your posture, I just got 2 people, I'm not gonna bother, right? I'm just gonna throw in the towel, or this is not, like your tone just kind of drops a little bit. Yeah, your heart kind of drops a little bit, kind of sinks a little bit, right? But then what you do is you gotta pick yourself up. You gotta pick yourself up, man. You know what I'm saying? So I had to do that, and it's being able to control your mind, you guys. Being able to this comes. You cannot get this by just hearing about it, man. This comes with developing yourself. What I'm really talking about is developing. It's your personal development. That's why personal development. That's why surrounding yourself with information and people that will constantly reinforce you, right? And reinforce the idea that, you know what, you can do it. Here is how somebody else did it. You can do anything you put your mind to. Those kinds of messages are super, super, super important. What you're doing is you're developing, it's like going to the gym, right? You're developing that muscle, right? That resilience, that's something that will keep you pushing forward when things like this happen, okay? So I got 2 people listening to me, and I had to deliver, right? I banished the thought that there was 2 people, and I imagined there was like 2,000 people, or I couldn't even imagine 2,000. I imagined there were like 200 people on the call. And I'm like super excited, man. I get myself fired up, and I really think I think about those people, not in terms of like, I'm gonna try to sell you guys something, but my mindset is all about delivering value to these guys. I told them that I'm not gonna sell anything, so delivering value is where everything is at, right? So what I do is I jump on the call, and I basically be myself. I said, hey everybody, my name is Vick. I appreciate you showing up. And again, my voice is, is a little shaky. This is the first call ever, right? And I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I act like I know what I'm talking about. Okay? I act like I know what I'm talking about. Here's how you do that. You do that just like I do that with you right now. Today I know what I'm talking about. But notice the voice of the tone of my voice. Okay? You make those pauses. You talk confidently. You talk like you know what you're talking about. Now, did I know how to get 20 subscribers? Yeah, I got them. So was I lying to them? No. Very, very important to understand here. One thing, a lot of people get confused in their head, the kind of message they're trying to deliver with what's going on in their head. And it's conflicting and it comes across. Let me explain to you. Okay? All right. Fake it till you make it? No, that's not it, Sean. I look at your comments here. I'm not saying fake it till you make it, but you talk based from your experience, right? Here, there is a fine line, you guys. Okay, there is a fine line. I want everybody to get this. Fake it till you make it is not gonna cut it, because people smell phony a mile away. Okay, if I would tell those people, hey, I'm gonna show you how I got $20,000 last month, and I didn't, that would be fake it till you make it. That would actually be lying. Okay, that would be horrible. But when I got 20 subscribers, and now I'm talking to these 20 subscribers, and I would teach them how I got 20 subscribers. See what I'm saying? I'm not faking it. I'm real. But here's the thing: the way I talk. I mean, this is my first ever tiny little success. Right? Most people would be like, I don't even know what I did, man. I don't even know how I mean, I just ran this ad, and they devalue themselves, right? They don't give themselves, an opportunity to flourish, right? So they undervalue themselves a lot. So they think, oh, because I didn't make a sale yet, I have nothing to share. Who am I to share with these guys? Okay? So what you do, let's see, transcendence going through the eye of a needle. Okay, accept the positive in your success. Okay, you guys getting this? So what I talk about is I said, hey, here's how I got 20 subscribers. Here's the ad I ran, right? I promoted this company, and I promoted a landing page that I built, which, by the way, I can show you and I can teach you how I did it later. Hint, 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 throw in the seeds for the future communication, right? I said, hey, I built my own landing page, which I can tell you how I did it a little bit later in the next training. But basically, I told them what my mentor told me, and I said, look, I'm part of this company, and everybody's pushing, doing what everybody else is doing. What you need to do is you need to stand out. What am I doing here? I'm learning, doing, and teaching. In episode number 1 of the journey, right, Justin Varangia, what did he say? One of his magic, approaches to success was, or one of his, big breakthroughs was, learning, doing, teaching, right? You guys see how this is coming together? So you learn. What you learn, you act on it, right? You build a landing. Somebody told me, hey, man, you got to build a landing page, and I did it. And now I drove traffic to that page. I got 20 leads, and now I can teach those 20 leads how I done exactly what I just done. Now, what that did is it allowed me to position myself now as an expert, and now I have more than one topic that I can go deeper into. Instead of just keeping it very, very linear, like most people would, I started to plant the seeds for future success, and started to open future doors of opportunity. Here's how. So I built a landing page, okay? Up to that point, most people in the space, they were just like relying on somebody else giving them the landing page from a company. So all of a sudden, by me just sharing that idea with them, that was something that they did not think about, okay? Boom. Puts me a little bit, maybe head above, the rest, right, of what they heard. And then I said, look, I can teach you how I did it in future trainings. Boom. Second seed that I planted, right, for future trainings and future communication, connecting with your list. I didn't talk about the product. In fact, selling a product was not even on my mind on this particular call. And then I said, hey, I just ran an ad for free on Craigslist, and here's what my ad said. And I just basically told them exactly how I did it. 2 people, right? 2 people. I recorded that call. We could record it, right? And then I would get the recording, and I would get the link to the recording, and I would email to my list, 20 people, okay? So I said, hey, if you did not attend this call, here is a replay. So that's another way for me to communicate, another reason for me to communicate with my list, with value. You guys getting this? Now, there's no sales, right? So I would run another ad. I already got 20 people here. It's building on small successes. Okay, stepping into your walk. Is this helpful, you guys? For those of you guys who are in the comments here, okay, are you guys getting this? Okay? You don't have to have this massive success for you to feel successful. Build on your small successes. I ran another ad, right? Didn't have the money. Again, ran another free ad. Got another 20 or 30 people to my list. Guess what I did? I did the same thing, okay? And I've included one other little tiny detail now. Now, I have one other thing that I did not have with my first contact with them, right? Now I have an experience of doing a teleconference. Get it? Now I did a teleconference, so now I have new people coming in, more people to my list, now like 40 or 50 people on my list, right? No sales yet, but now I have something that I did that worked. I talked to the two people, I did a teleconference, and now I have something new to teach them, okay? So I said, hey guys, I'm gonna teach you a different way of marketing. Okay, a different way of marketing. Call in this number, free teleconference, right? freeconferencecall.com. Call in this number, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. Okay? What happened? Maybe 12 people showed up. Okay? Because some people that didn't show up the first time, they heard the recording, and they connected to me through the recording, right? So a little bit more people showed up the next time. 11, 12, I don't remember. Very, very low number. And what I do the same thing. Value, value, value. Did I pitch anything? I did not pitch a thing. In fact, I did not even tell them what I was like promoting or giving them the links or anything. I told them I said, hey, I was promoting a company, right? But what I was really focusing on is on how I did it. Okay? Value, value, value. And then I remember I'm getting the first sale. Somebody contacted me, and in every single email that was going out from me, there was another thing. When you're new, okay, include your phone number. That will really, really help you. Include your phone number and encourage people to contact you if they have any questions. That will make you more personable, more real. Make sense? That's what I did. In every single email that went out, I included my phone number at the very bottom. I said, hey, if you have any questions, feel free to call me. Here's my number. Here's my cell number. Somebody called me back, and he's like, hey, Vic, I've been watching you, and I'm ready to get started. You know, what's your join link? You know, I'm ready to get started. And I make my first $2,000 commission.